right. Let's go, camera. Hell yes. Boom. No? Yes? Perfect. What is up, ladies? Can you drop in the chat what you do, what you sell? I want to make sure that we make this training relevant for you and for what you do so I can support you as much as humanly possible. And, wanting to make sure that you understand some skills and some tools that you can use today to help you and support you in your calls so that you can really start off this month with a fire. There's something that happens in the first week of the month when you start closing deals and when you are having really good conversations and you're getting people across the line. There's just oh man, I'm doing it feeling. And I want you to feel like that as well. So make sure we're dropping that in the chat. Let's see. We have life insurance. All right. Business coach. Let's go, queen. Life insurance, recruitment, appointment setter, solar. Okay, great. So today we're going to be talking about probing questions, okay? And how to get any prospect in any industry to open up and want to buy now versus later. So the first thing that we need to understand is what are probing questions, right? And what we're using, what methodology. So we're using NEPQ, right? And my company does NEPQ Red, which is a feminine version of NEPQ, right? Giving you a woman's perspective, because I know it's difficult sometimes being a woman in sales because you have two different things going on. Your skill set that you need to increase and you learn so you can bring more value to the marketplace, and also your ability to get through any emotional things that are coming up for you so that you can perform, so that you can get through it, because we're not wired the same way as guys. And so if I have something emotional or something personal that's going on, sometimes it can affect me at work, or sometimes I get burnout too easily because I don't have that energy that's happening, that's being reproduced every couple hours like guys do. So NEPQ stands for Neuro-Emotional Persuasion Questioning, right? And it's a methodology that's backed with behavioral science so that it works with human behavior rather than against it. And probing questions are questions that help clarify what your prospect is saying so that you can they help you understand what your prospect means versus just what they say. Okay. So a good example of this is I don't know if you guys have ever had an experience where you're dating someone and you're really upset and you're trying to communicate why you're upset, but they just don't get it. Has anybody ever had that? You're really upset, but they just don't understand why you're upset. And all you want them to do in that moment is be like, hey, I care about you. I'm with you. I love you. I'm here for you. And everything's going to be okay. That's all you really want. But they're trying to logically explain everything to you. You just want them to understand what you mean when you're communicating that you're upset versus trying to analyze all the words that you're saying. Your prospects, sometimes they're saying something, but they mean something else. And you won't be able to know what they mean unless you are asking questions. You never want to assume what they mean. You want to clarify and ask. So one more time, that's neuro-emotional persuasion questioning, right? So when would you do this in a call? You would do this throughout any question that you have if you don't have clarity on what they're saying, right? And they're also helping you probe deeper so you can really pull out your potential customers' emotions, right? Because people buy with emotion rather than logic, which it psychologically is getting them to want to change your situation right now with urgency rather than, waiting down the road. And you should ask NEPQ probing questions because it's going to help build a bigger gap between where your prospect is right now compared to where they really want to be, which is only going to be solved if they buy your solution, if they buy your product, right? But there has to be a gap there. And the way that you get the gap to become bigger and bigger and bigger is by probing on the pain, probing on what they want in the future, and helping them really understand that they're not anywhere close to where they want to be and understand that they need to make a change. And the biggest area you want to probe in is in pain, because pain is the number one emotional driver as to why people would want to change. So the bigger the gap, the more they feel like they need to change and the more sales you will make. We really want to make sure we're expanding the prospect's problem. So let's give an example here, right? Let's say that I'm somebody that's selling my home, okay? And I'm the salesperson, I'm the real estate, and I'm trying to get them to give me this listing, right? And they're kind of on the fence whether or not they want to sell it or not, but they're looking at some options. So I might say, and go into the pain, like, do you like your home right now? Do you like living in your home? And they could say, well, kind of. I'm like, well, what do you like about it? Right? I'm probing deeper. Well, what do you like about it? I like that it's one story. I like that the pool has a cover, so I don't have to worry about my kids. I like that, it is close to my family. Okay. Well, is there anything that you would, change about like the home or living in it? Like if you could? Well, I feel like the neighborhood is really not as safe as I would want it to be. Okay. Before I go to the next question, I need clarity on what the heck they mean by that. So I would probe deeper and I would be like, it's not safe? Like, what do you mean by that? Well, last week our neighbors got, broken into, and the week before our other neighbors got broken into. So it's a little nerve-wracking, having kids. I'm going to probe deeper. Nerve-wracking by like probing it back to them. I mean, yeah, like I just want to make sure I could sleep through the night. I'm like, well, it seems like, moving into a safer neighborhood is really important to you. So I'm always just going deeper and deeper and deeper in the conversation so that I can elicit more pain. So I can get clarity to understand what's coming up for them. So I can allow them to feel the pain. And you not being able to sleep through the night and, and having these robberies go around the neighborhood, like, do you feel like that's impacting you and your sleep right now? Like, do you feel like that's impacting you at work? I mean, yeah, I feel like I'm super tired at work and I feel like my job is like, possibly on the line because of this. And how is that affecting you? I don't know, personally. I'm just going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And I'm trying to find out the pain there so that they will want to make a change. Where they're like, man, like, I can't keep experiencing this pain over and over. Look at all the different areas that it's affecting in my life. I need to make a change. Okay. So if you have any questions on that, pop it in there because I'm going to give a couple different more examples of this. The one thing I want you to understand is that we need to expand our prospect's problem, right? Like the real reason why a lot of sales reps don't close. So the real reason why a lot of people don't make the commissions that they could is because the prospects tell you a problem and then you move too quickly to the next question. Oh, not a safe neighborhood? Okay, great. Well, besides that, blah, blah, blah. Like, no. Like, you have to probe on that. Like, why is that important? How does that make them feel? What's coming up for them? Like, I had to get clarity on what that means. They said that the house not being safe is affecting their job security, right? Like, that's impacting them, right? I have to get cleared. I have to go underneath the surface and kind of figure out what's going on. Now, you have to go deeper in this pain in order for them to relive this pain in order for them to want to make a change. And the last thing is like prospects are not always going to be really honest about the problems when you ask surface level questions. If you're asking mundane surface level questions, you're going to get mundane surface level answers. And not because they want to be disingenuous to you. It's because most likely they don't think about those pain points until you're really asking about it. Right? So NAPQ probing questions will help you go deeper and deeper so that you can get the picture of their situation, right? And your tone here should be of concern and curiosity when you're asking NAP probing questions so that they would want to open up to you, okay? So let's pick a couple of these and now I'll give you an example. I'm gonna put a couple of here in the chat. hold on, I'm going to copy paste this, put these in the chat for you guys so that you know how to clarify, right? I didn't know my jacket was moving. Sorry. All right. Here's a couple questions. Okay. How do you mean by that exactly? Well, what's causing this issue? What do you feel like is causing this to happen? What's prompting you to look at even changing this? Like, can I ask you what even originally led your decision to this in the first place? Well, how important is it to you now, though? Why so important, like right now? Can I ask why? Could you be more specific? Give me an example. Like, what do you mean when you say that? Right? I'm just getting underneath the surface. So let's give another example. I'll take off this jacket. It's distracting. Let's give another example in another industry, right? Let's say that I'm in insurance and I'm asking specific questions, and I'm asking like, who would be, your beneficiary that would, go to the funeral home and meet with everyone and pay for everything, right? And they're like, well, that would be my husband and my kids. And what was your husband's name? John. And your kids? How many kids do you have? I have 3. And what are their names? Sally, 1, 2, 3. Okay. And with them going and paying for this, would they be paying out of pocket, or would they have to get some type of financial backing if you didn't have something like this in place? I mean, yeah, they would have to pay out of pocket. I just don't know how they're gonna be able to do that. Well, how do you mean by that exactly? I'm going straight into a probing question. Or like, could you be a little bit more specific? Like, what do you mean by that? Well, I think they would possibly have to sell the house. Oh, the house. Do you see what I'm doing? I'm getting underneath by asking them to clarify and by probing a little bit, right? And why do you feel like this is so important to you, now though, versus just pushing this down the road? Well, I had a friend that recently passed away and their family didn't have anything. Well, like, how do you feel like that's, affecting their family right now financially? I mean, they're buried. Buried? What do you mean by that? Well, they're so overwhelmed that, they haven't even left the house. They're just inside working away and then grieving. Right? I'm getting underneath the surface. I am digging, and I care enough to dig. Your prospect's problem is not going to be solved unless they buy from you. So your number one priority right now is to find problems that they didn't even know that they had, right? I'm asking questions. I'm wanting to go underneath the surface. I'm trying to get clarity. I'm trying to get them to realize that if they don't make a change, there's going to be issues for them down the road, right? And I get to clarify. I can't just go from question to question. If I go at one question and they give me an answer, I need to probe a little bit so I can understand what they mean. And once I probe, they get clarity, I get clarity. They realize this problem's bigger than what they realized, and I help them find another problem, right? So it's just like a win-win-win-win of them uncovering these issues so that they can realize they need to make a change. They go and make a change, and then they buy your product or service, and then you help solve their problem. Yes? So does anybody have any questions so far on that? Yes? No? Dun, 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 dun. I want to give one more industry specific thing here. Or just give you another example that I think is really good. One thing that you get to ask somebody is how long they've had a problem and how it's affecting their life, right? So let's say that you are selling a high ticket offer and you are selling like business consulting, okay? And I am talking to my prospect and they are possibly looking at having some consulting work, somebody helping them come up with a strategy, helping them come up with their systems and helping them move forward so they actually can, generate far more revenue than they are right now. Okay. So maybe some of the questions that I'm asking them are like, well, what do you have in place in terms of, systems and like how you operate day to day, just so I can understand. And they're telling me, well, we have these people on our team and we have this setup and this setup, this setup. And how much revenue do you have coming in every single month? Okay. And how much of that is profit? Okay. So it seems like you're barely making it by. I mean, how long have you been dealing with this level of profitability? Let's say that they were only profiting, 10 grand a month, okay, after all the expenses and different things. Oh, okay. And how long have you been profiting 10K? Well, we were profiting about 30K. And in the past couple months, it's just gone down. It's gone down to 10,000. And what do you feel like has made it gone down? Do you know exactly? Or if you were to guess, like, what do you feel like that would be? Well, we lost a salesperson here and then we changed our marketing strategy. Well, do you feel like when you change that, it has had an impact on you personally in the business? In what way though? And how long have you known that you needed somebody else to come in and possibly give you some ideas and help? Well, I mean, we've been thinking about this for the past 4 months, but I just like haven't pulled the trigger. And now that the business is going down even more, like I feel like I have to do something. It seems like this is really important to you. With this going down, do you feel like it's affected your family life at all? I mean, well, yeah, like my husband and I like haven't talked in a week. How is that impacting you? Okay, so I'm just trying to find the issues and trying to go underneath the surface. So this one's really good. How long has this issue been going on for? Has it had an impact on you? In what way? Right? And so I want you to be able to utilize all these in your conversations. So one thing that's really great, I know what that is. What you could do, if it would help, is you can book a call with our team. Let me see this one. And what we like to do is do a role play with you, right? Either role play an objection that you're getting, role play something else that you're getting. I'll put the training in here, the link. What you can also do is just DM me role play, and I'll have my team reach out to you, and we'll get you on a call with one of our girls on the team, because you don't know what you don't know, right? Like I can role play with you an objection handling, and you just guess that you think you know what I mean, and then you keep going, and then you completely lose the sale because you don't know how to probe and clarify in the objection handling process. There's ways to do this where you have to slow down, because remember, you have to listen to what the prospect means, not just what they're saying, right? And if you're at a place where you're not making where you want to make every single month, like it's up to you, babe. Like there's nobody coming for you. Like this is the hardest lesson that I've ever learned. Like no one's coming to rescue me and help me. Like it's you, it's inside of you. And there's two aspects that you get to learn and develop. If you want to make more money, you have to bring more value to the marketplace. You bring more value to the marketplace by enhancing your skills. Skills are what are going to give you the ability to bring more value. The higher the skill level, the easier it is for you to help people. The easier it is for you to help them have those breakthroughs and buy from you. The higher the skill level. And then at the same time, the higher you have to have the mental ability to get through this, because it's going to require some mental toughness. Sales is not easy peasy lemon squeezy. It's going to require something of you, require you to step into a new level of leadership, because you're leading somebody to realize problems that they didn't know that they had. It's going to require something out of you. So if you're at a place in your life where you're like, hey, like Christmas is coming and I'm not where I want to be financially, like this is your moment to step into something more. Like I wish I could just go in and like pull something out of you and just help you realize like that you have all the potential and all the resources and all the talent to become really, really successful in sales, and really, really successful so you can make the money for your family and whatever you're wanting to put that to and whatever you're wanting to thrive in and grow in. It's going to require a new level from you. Require a level for you to be hungry enough to learn it and acquire the skills, and to be willing to look at yourself in the mirror and realizing things and attitudes and habits that are not working, and being willing to fix those and work on those and develop yourself so that you can hold space for another human and help them realize that they have to make a change as well. If you're not willing to make a change, how are you going to be able to hold space on a sales call for somebody else to make a change, which is all that sales is. So anyways, if you want our support, just DM me role play, and we will get on a role play with you and help you and give you some feedback on what you may be saying or not saying that could be triggering some resistance in your calls, which is probably why you're not closing, or getting these people to give you objections like, I need to think about it, or it's the money, or like, hey, like this is out of our budget right now, or hey, I need to talk to my husband, I need to talk to the board, like whatever's coming up for them. Let us help you role play through that. So I honor you guys. If you need our help, happy to support any way that we can. It's up to you. You gotta step into uncomfortability. Again, no one's gonna do it for you. I know what it's like being in your shoes. I know what it's like calling people all day long and not having anybody answer, or not closing any deals for weeks, and like feeling so frustrated. And I mean, like, what the heck? Like, I feel like I've done everything. I've taken every course and still I'm not getting the breakthroughs. Like, I know what it's like to be frustrated and overwhelmed and completely burned out, and still trying to take care of my daughter with all the responsibility on my shoulders. Like, I know what that's like. So if our team can help support you in order for you to acquire the skills so that you can, close far more than what you're doing right now, 2, 3, 4 times more by acquiring the skills and acquiring your skill level, so that you cannot have so many objections in your calls. Like, you're going to be at a place where you're on path to do really, really well by the end of this year. But that's going to require you to step into uncomfortability. So we look forward to having you on those role play calls. If you need us, just ask any question that you can in the group, and we will see you super soon. Bye, ladies.